You know who it is, the horror flick, Digger Ditch, Super 6, Big Mitch. And I'm kicking in doors with all three O's. And I'm bringing 28s, one-on-ones because we Vegas sons. It's the Chronicles. And you in the Meadowlands. Yeah, you in the Metals, man. And you already know what made me. 530. What that mean? Oh, that boy's a desert baby. Oh, yeah. Hubba dub, scrub, 22-inch gold thing of things. And look at it, man, these could never be McLean's. Welcome to Vegas Chronicles with the whole Super 6, Mr. Digger Ditch, Big Mitch. And today, like any other day, y'all know what we do. We kick actual factuals with no additives or no preservatives. Just raw and uncut. Like what? Like summer sausages and crackers. You already know. Shout out to everybody that's been rocking with your boy. Shout out to everybody that's been rocking with my platform. To my partner Sugar Bear from Nonstop. He wished my videos be longer, man. I guess when he get into them, they cut off. But I kind of like it like that, you know what I mean? It keeps you in tune, and then it, like the wire, you know what I mean? But it is what it is. I'm going to make them longer, though, man. Shout out to Sugar Bear, man. That's my little comrade, man, from way back, man. That's a real one, man. Day one, A1, man. Shout out to the Nonstops, man. Them some good little brothers, man. But unfortunately, today I come, with y'all to y'all in a somber mood with a somber message. And first off, let me start this off by saying rest in peace to Whack Attack, man. I lost a little partner, man, and what makes it so sad is that I ran into him a few months ago. So man, it was a minute. He was up there by Thrive Dispensary, and he was getting a haircut. And when I walked up, in there, I didn't know who he was at first, I didn't know he was going through what he was going through. I'm not gonna put his business out there, but he had an ailment, and I embraced him, and I told him, if he needed something to get at me, he said, well, big homie, if you could come across a pair of shoes, I say, what size, homie? He say 10. I say, you know what? I got some at the house for you. I got a couple pair, and I went home and I put them in a bag for him, and I said, well, when I run into him again, or because he didn't have no phone, I had no way to get it, his number, nothing. I say, so when I run into him again, or when I run into somebody, I'm gonna get these to him. I'm gonna get them to him, or I just take them to the barbershop and just let them set them up in there. And I just got word that my little Brody he passed away, man. Rest in peace, Whack Attack. Now, this ain't got nothing to do with no Gerson, no nothing that, man. That was a good little brother. And what people don't understand is that, when a person die, I don't care if they're from Northtown Gangsters, Rolling 60. See, the thing with me, I'm not bound by none of that bull crap no more. I'm a man. I'm a man before I'm anything, and I'm mature enough to say that and stand on it. I'm a man before I'm anything, and as a man, I'm tough. I produce testosterone. I'm brute, yeah. But every now and then I gotta shed a tear. I hurt because even though I used to look at the Northtown Gangsters or the Rolling 60s or whoever as enemies, when you get to know them brothers and when you get to understand that they just like you, young black men who probably grew up without their fathers, some grew up with their fathers, but we all come from depressed areas. We all know the struggle. It's the same type of struggle. We all love our grandma. Everybody love Mama Dukes. You know what I mean? We all grew up under our grandmamas. We all went to the same program. We all been in Tallulah Springs, Doolittle, UNLV. We did the same thing. When you get to know them brothers, you understand that we was bamboozled. He is me and I am him. Regardless of what color rag we put on, them my brothers. The Pirus, those my brothers. The West Coast Bloods, those my brothers. And the ones that I know and the ones that got love for me, they think likewise. We brothers, man. So when somebody leave, it hurt. It do. But I want to get into that, man, because I want y'all to know something, man, that people don't talk about, and I'm going to put it out there because it needs to be put out there. You could go on these platforms and you can find videos that's gonna address your needs. If you're looking for somewhere where you wanna watch somebody yell under the screen talking about pull up, or come get this put off, or come get this put on, or people talking about other people's neighborhoods, you know what I mean? Keeping conflict going. See, that's what they use as content, controversy, chaos. Chaos create content. This is what they want. The internet has become the streets. But you got some brothers on there, man, that know that the youth is being affected in a negative capacity by this internet, man. And this internet is doing more harm than good. It's not that many positive messages being put forth. And the people that's putting out positive messages, they get attacked by other people who trying to get on and clout chase. People quick to try to slander your name. They quick to attack your character. They try to take you off your square, you know? So when you put your face on here and you come and you bringing a positive message, know you working for God. And don't worry about what people say. He go fight them battles. The battles that you can't fight, that's God's job. And that's where we get it twisted. We try to do his job. But let God fight them battles you can't see. He got your back. Don't worry about nobody. Focus on the mission at hand. And that's what I'm doing. So let me tell you this right here. One thing that's not stressed enough about this game that we play is the psychological trauma. I did a video on that, man. Do y'all realize how many youngsters is not here because of them unaliving themselves? Let's talk about it. See, a lot of y'all don't want to hear this, but some of y'all got brothers that did that went through something that y'all wish that y'all could have talked to them, that y'all wish that y'all could have been there for them, that y'all wish y'all could have did something other than what y'all didn't do to keep them here. I had a partner named Rodney T. Not Rod, Rodney T. He was from West Coast Bloods. His name was Rodney Harris. This cat right here was one of the first forms of a Martin you would ever meet. This cat was so funny. We was in Elko, and he had these thick glasses. This cat can rap. He can beatbox. He can fight. He was fast. He'll have you laughing, man. He will, man. I remember him and I remember we was in Elko. We used to be in school in Elko. You know, it's called Independence High. The coach, right? And all we did was go to school to fight. You know, whether it was Ern P, me, Gustav, Sam Douglas, Ricky Briggins, Danny Pollard, Boo Rock, Scarface, you know, Bonte, you know, J. Lou, his brother Ronnie-O, Rodney-O, Big Craze, Blue Brains, Maurice Swanson, whether it was, you know, we all grew up Bo Dollars, Big Bo, Ralph MacGyver. We all was in Elko together. And all we did was fight one another. That's how we came out tough. That's how we knew who had hands. Spanky Boo, Milo Thomas. We got down. Fat Dad, Boosie B. When we hit them hallways, Christopher Schultz, Kip Nut, we chonked them. We was chonking them. And Rodney T, I keep calling him Rado, but Rodney T, look, one day, Donald Jackson. And Donald Jackson was kind of, you know, but he didn't fought everybody in Elko. If you ain't never had a fight with Donald Jackson, you ain't never been to Elko. Because Donald Jackson was But anyway, him and Rod T get into it, right? And Rod T funny. Rod T was crumbing on Donald Jackson, and he just had the whole class laughing, you know. And you know, he just had a way about himself, man. He'll talk about you, man, so bad. He'll make you want to fight, and then the cold thing about it, he'll beat you up afterwards, because the boy can fight, you know. So him and Donald Jackson got into it, man, and Donald Jackson wanted to fight him because he couldn't crumb with Rod T. So when Rod T got up, right, he said, "You really want to do this, Donald Jackson?" He was like, "Yeah." So Rod T was laughing. He was laughing with it, right? He said, "All right." So Rod T took off his state jacket, right? He laughing though, right? And Donald Jackson threw up his dukes. He, come on, Rod T, taking off his jacket. He said, "You really want to do this? You want to do this?" He took his jacket off, right? And he threw it in Donald Jackson's face. I ain't never seen nobody do that before. Take their jacket off and then he threw it in his face and then followed it up with a 4-piece. Blended him, right? I was laughing, then he picked him up and scooped him, and he was laughing when he did it, right? He was rolling. He beat Donald Jackson up, man, and then he broke out the class. He ran out the class. Everybody was just laughing, right? That was Rod T. You know what I'm saying? Or he'd get into it with the staff member. He'll steal on the staff and he'll break running, and they can't catch him. He'd take off running. Rod T was a fool, right? But underneath all that humor, underneath all that, you know, he was so full of life, man. I'm telling you, that man, it can be raining outside. Rod T come in, he go light everything up. The sun will be shining. I swear to God, Rod T was that type of individual. He brought vibration to the room, you know. He just had you laughing. It was just, and he wasn't even trying to be funny. He just was funny. He got the cameras took. This cat took a bunch. Look, we used to have Polaroids in Elko. This cat took a bunch of pictures of himself. I'm not gonna even go there. He filmed himself in compromising positions and got all the camera, you know, because the staff used to go get the cameras developed. They got the camera, his camera developed, man. He took pictures of, man, they took all our cameras messing with Rod T, right? But underneath all that, it was something that wasn't right. It was something unsettled. It was something that he didn't share with us. And he wasn't happy, you know? And I don't know what happened, but I talked to Burger B because that was his right-hand man, Ms. Ike, Burger B, they all hung together. Milo, they all hung together. But something was wrong with Rod T, man. And one day, man, I guess, Rod T was going through whatever he was going through, man. But out of the blue, man, Rod T he just snapped, man, and he just unalived himself, man. Like, he just took his own life, man. You know? And that didn't just hurt the West Coast Bloods. That hurt a lot of people because he touched a lot of people, you know? He was the kind of dude that had that sense of humor that crossed over color lines, and a lot of people couldn't do that. It didn't matter how funny you was. If you was a Crip, them Bloods didn't like you. If you was a Blood, them Crips didn't like you. But if he was the type of dude, man, he crossed color lines with his humor, man. He made everybody laugh. So when he passed away, that hurt. And I was cool with another cat. His name was Snow. Snow was Ralphie Boy, them brothers. Snow, Ralphie Boy, Roland, Daniel, Pocahontas. It's a bunch of them, man. And they like black and I think Hispanic or black and native, something like that. But, Ralph and Roland, they come out of the north. Ralphie Boy from Donna, GQ, Donna, whatever. And I think Roland was a Sanchuco, R.I.P. Roland. Daniel from 28th Street, but Snow was from West Coast Bloods. They all half-breeds, And Snow was cool as could be, man. Me and Snow used to be in the county jail. And, I like Snow because every time I got into it, Snow had my back. And I never asked him. But every time I got into it with somebody, he'd just come post up. Light skinny cat just come post up. And whenever I took flight, he took flight, man. But he never really talked. Snow was cool. Just like White Bread from West Coast Bloods. They was cool. They was quiet. But when it came to whatever they came to, they was with it. But Snow was going through what he was going through. And Snow wasn't feeling that county jail, man. He wasn't. He didn't like being locked up. Some people can't stand to be locked up, man. And then when you talk about sending them to the pen, they can't do it. But nevertheless, whatever he was going through, Snow took his life, man. And that's why I be telling people, this ain't no game. This ain't no game. I had another partner. His name was Jamie Mendoza. They called him Droopy. He was from Little Locos. What made me and him close is that we was in Indian dorm. And Jamie used to, he had a condition. He used to have seizures, But that was my partner, man. And he used to know how to draw real good. And we both got in trouble one day because we was feeling rebellious. He got into it with Mr. Groves. Mr. Groves was over our unit. Him and Mr. Groves got into it over Mr. Groves. He didn't want to buffer the float. And Mr. Groves made him the buffer, right? Jamie didn't want to buffer the float, right? Because buffering that flow, that's a hard job. You have to buff the whole unit, the whole unit flow. And they wanted to look like glass. He wasn't with that. He was a real essay. So we got mad, I was riding with him, so we took our state jackets, and he wrote Chicano Power on the back of his with a fist, and wrote Black Power on the back of mine with a fist. So we walking around with state jackets. He got Chicano Power on his, and I got Black Power on mine, so we around there protesting like that, right? Man, Mr. Anderson came down there and beat the brakes off me and Jamie, but we tried to put up a fight. We was getting with him for about a good 6-7 seconds. But Mr. Anderson was down there slapping. Man, I'm talking about he was slapping our heads together, slapping them apart. He was slapping them. Man, he came down there. And that's the cold thing, man. He a Mormon, man, but he was on swole. I ain't never seen a buff Mormon like that, man. I don't know what they was feeding that cat, and he had skinny legs. And he used to walk on his tiptoes but he was buff. Man, that cat came down there, and he kind of remind you of that dude in the wheelchair, Family Guy, I think. But that cat right, man, listen. Man, my partner Droopy, man, Droopy, he was going through it, man. Droopy used to huff that pain a lot, man. So Droopy wasn't never really quite here. And I used to talk to him, and he used to be up and he used to be down, but that was my partner, whenever he got down, we got down, Droopy was with it. And I remember him and, I think his name was Eddie Gallardo. Eddie Gallardo was from Los Hermanos. You know what I'm saying? They called Eddie. He was hard. I think they called him Psych. Eddie Gallardo. Him and Eddie Gallardo used to go at it. You know, it was either him and Eddie Gallardo or Eddie Gallardo and Danny Kavecki. Danny Kavecki was Cricket from Sanchucos. They used to go at it. But Droopy just was. Droopy used to get sad. He used to just start crying, you know. And then, you know, he'd be real funny, you know what I mean? And he used to try to act black, you know what I mean? And he was one of the Mexicans that had you funny. He had you laughing, man, you know. He had you laughing, you know. But Droopy got out, man, and he couldn't stop huffing that paint, man. He couldn't. He was addicted to it, man. Droopy made him a zip gun, man. I'm telling you, he was a real essay. Droopy made him a zip gun. And Droopy took his life, man. You know, my condolences to his family, his sister Angel. My condolences. But Droopy was a good dude. You see? Y'all get what I'm saying, man? This is a game. This ain't no game. You never know what a person really going through. You know? And I had a little partner, I think his name was C-Mac. You know, he was going through what he was going through. The one that parked up over there, I think in Kmart parking lot, where the Indo Mall is right there on Rancho. And he sat up there in the parking lot, was going through what he was going through. He took his life, man. It's so many people that done that because of this game, man, for whatever reason. That's why I tell y'all not to get in this, man. You don't know what you signing yourself up for, man. I'm gonna tell y'all what's going on now. When we was younger, Herbert Gershon, before Donna Street rose up. See, what made the Gershons so aggressive was that they were seeking revenge. During the time the Gershons and the West Coast Bloods got into it, if you really look at it, there were no unalivings. There wasn't. Before L was unalived, it was Pro Hound, which was Jamie Graves, and Ricky Dunlap. Those was not gang related. You know? Don't nobody know who killed, you know, excuse my friend, don't nobody know what happened to Ricky Dunlap. And everybody know what happened to Pro Hound. But the situation with L was really the first, you know, gang unaliving in Vegas in a long time. You know? And what made the Gershons so aggressive is that they were seeking revenge behind that. So that's what made the Gershon so aggressive. They were mad, they were angry, and were seeking revenge. And it made the West Coast Bloods really step up because the Gershon was coming through there. You see? And it made the other gangs like perk up because the Gershon was giving it to everybody. They were mad. That's what made gangs so aggressive. When the Donna Street Crips came on the scene, what made the Donna Street Crips so aggressive? Because when they started out, they wasn't aggressive. It wasn't that many of them to be aggressive. What made Donna aggressive was the unaliving of Boo Boo Swanson. That's what made them aggressive. And they sought revenge. And it wasn't just against the 60s. They wanted revenge. They just went at everybody. They didn't care. See, that's what makes gangs hostile, is when they seek revenge. When the 60s got real hostile is when the unaliving of Shaky Loke happened. That made the 60s real aggressive. Real aggressive. Because the 60s was dealing with the blowback from Donna behind a Boo Boo Swanson incident. They were dealing with that. They were getting hit for both sides. The Donnas was hitting them and the Gershons was hitting them because the Donnas and the Gershons formed an alliance. So the Donnas was hitting the 60s, the Gershons was hitting the 60s. Then the Donna started hitting West Coast Bloods, and the Gershons was hitting West Coast Bloods. So you had two gangs, which were the Gershons and the Donna Street Crips, being aggressive. You see? And that's how gang banging really got turned up. Because the Parus got aggressive when Sha Mink was unalived. The Parus got aggressive. You see? That's how things start moving. That's how things start going. The 60s was coming on the block, tearing up the block. The block had to respond to that. So the block armed themselves. So when the 60s came through, they was ready. The 60s was seeking revenge. The BTDs, they amped back up when the incident happened with Kenny Wayne and West Coast Bloods. The BTDs amped back up and they went ham. They were seeking revenge. That's what made the area of Las Vegas so volatile during 88, 87, 88, 89, 90. All them unaliveds. The Pirus got extra amped up when the situation happened with Paul Synagogue, just like Valley View got amped up when the situation happened with my cousin Ricky Allen. You see? Now they going at the Donnas. The Donnas going at the 60s. The Donnas going at the coast. The Gersons going at the coast. The Gersons going at the 60s. Then the NTGs stepped up in the scene. You see? And fell out with the 60s behind Scary Low. Now the 60s seeking revenge against the NTGs. It was on out here, man. It was on. Then the ABMs get into it. It just was a cycle of violence that just kept going and just kept going. Then White Street tripped out because they lost Jesse Bright. You see? Things that start happening. Bad Boy from 50s. Boy Pop. Everything just started happening. Everything just started going to the left, man. And when you looked up, people like John Holloway, Sonny, everybody just got to leaving, man. Tim from UCC's, everybody just got to leaving. Everybody just got to leaving, man. Outlaw from the hood, Lil Larry. People don't even talk about him. Lawman. R.I.P. to that youngster. These were some good brothers we lost, man. Some real good brothers, man. And some of them had brothers like Land P, who became Land 3. People don't even know Land. Man, listen, this cat right here, I was in Elko with him too, Land P, when he was a Paru. See? And I know he became a West Coast Blood, but that's blood business. I know when he was a Paru, I knew his brother Chill P, and I knew his brother Dale. But Land P, he was out there. He was. Out of the brothers, he was out there. Short, dark-skinned, real pudgy. Had you laughing. I don't know if it was him, and I think it was him and Reuben Turner. It was him and Reuben Turner that had that fight. We was in Forrester Dorm. Not Forrester, Frontier, right? That's Frontier is a dorm that's adjourned to another dorm called Adventure. And I remember Reuben Turner as a light-skinned dude. I think he half-breed from Hustlers, older brother. But he was up in and I think Reuben Turner and Land P got into it over top ramen, man. Land P used to make the coldest top ramens, man. But he was serious. You touch Land P top ramen, y'all finna get down. He put seasoning in it, garlic powder. In the top ramen, he have a top ramen smelling like a steak. And he always tell you touch my bowl, I'm gonna bust your ass. You know what I mean? That's how he talk. But he was serious about the top ramens. So one day he had one sitting in the day room area. He had the whole day room smelling like Panda Express off one soup. So Reuben, Reuben one of them I don't give a F type of dudes, man. He seen that soup up over there. And Land P, Land P let everybody know, man, you touch that soup, he go bust your, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't playing either. Boy, Reuben, he couldn't, I guess the smell was just too seductive. Man, he went up over there and he dipped that fork up in that soup and the noodles, it was just too good. Land P grabbed him by his throat. And he couldn't eat the soup. He choked the soup right up out. Hey, Land P was crazy. Excuse my friend, Land P choked the soup right up out of him, right? Hey, but look, they was that scrapping hard. I told him about that soup, boy. Land P was Land P was hitting him with his forearm. Land P was putting them beans on. Over a top ramen, man. But Land P, man, he got out, man, and I don't know what happened, but somehow he landed in the coast. And I don't know if he stopped banging Paru, but he was a blood still, but Land P was unalive, man, and I'm not getting into that, man. But he had a little brother, a younger brother, man, who looked up to him, who loved him, and he could not deal with the fact that his brother was, and so, Dale, he couldn't deal with it, man, and he did the unthinkable, man, and that's what I be telling people, man. Stay away from this gang stuff, man. For real. Don't you know I still have nightmares behind this? I do. I still have reoccurring dreams, and a lot of cats that really live this life, they do. When you let empathy and compassion have its place, and you finally come to terms with what you've done, and you find peace with it, you have to accept it. You do. You have to accept it. But it's a cold picture to look at, man. It is. And you're not gonna forget it because you're a human. And what you did was unnormal, but that's okay. You got to heal. You know? And that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to heal, but at the same time, I can't forget the faces, the stares of people who I've afflicted. People who I've pointed guns that I can still see the fear in their face, man. I can still hear people who we beat say, what I do, what I do. They scream, what I do, what I do. As we were beating them. For what? For nothing. Black people. And we wonder why we falling dead. God, if you can hear me, send some type of salvation for my people. Oh my God. What have we done? Don't get these tears twisted. I was with the function. I was. But now I got to face reality. Through all the carnage that we've done to one another, we can barely function. We wonder why we falling out.